Hi everyone, I'm Courtney Poole and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, I'm a nutritionist and I specialize in the areas of juice cleansing, vegan nutrition, and healing compulsive eating. I've been studying and teaching in these areas since about 2005, and for a number of years I've had my own business where I have offered consulting and coaching one-on-one for people in those areas. And then in the last year, not quite a year, I've started this YouTube channel to start sharing more of what I teach my private clients and sharing that on video in this format. So that's a bit about me, and today's topic is about navigating the holidays as a vegan. Now, at the time of this recording, it's around the winter, December holidays. However, you might find this helpful for any other type of holiday throughout the year, or anywhere where there tends to be an uptick in the focus on food. Or, to be honest, there's probably things that I'll talk about in this video that really are relevant. Well, definitely, there are things that are relevant no matter what time of year it is, even if it's not the holidays. But I am going to talk about the holidays specifically. The other thing is that I'm focusing on navigating the holidays as a vegan in this video. However, even if you're not vegan, you still may find some helpful information in this video. So essentially, if you eat or want to eat differently than the status quo around the holidays, maybe you're vegetarian or you're gluten-free or you just want to eat healthier than the average person does, then you may find parts of this video helpful for you as well. And in this video, the way that I'm going to go about it is to talk about two main areas that I feel if people address them and start looking at these two main areas, then they're likely to answer the questions of the different problems that they might have during the holidays. So in other words, if you ask people, what do you find to be the biggest challenge about being vegan around the holidays or eating vegan around the holidays? There's a plethora of different answers that people have, things that people find to be a struggle. Now, whether you realize it or not in sort of what your answers to that question might be, I feel that a lot of the issues basically come down to these two things that we're going to talk about today. One of them is the issue of people-pleasing. So people-pleasing, worrying about what other people will think, trying to satisfy people emotionally with your behavior. And the other one has to do with self-care and self-responsibility. So the other point has to do with taking care of yourself, providing for yourself around the holidays. And I feel that a lot of the challenges people have with these issues could be resolved if they look at these two things. Now, by the way, before I get into that, I did do a video a few weeks ago that is called Why We Overeat During the Holidays. And that video is a little bit different. That one is more about, okay, I have the temptation. I seem to fall off the slippery slope. Why do I eat too much during the holidays? Why do I eat so much junk food? And so that video is a little bit more on the compulsive eating side, the overeating side, whether or not you're vegan. And so that addresses that part of the challenges during the holiday. And then this video is more about kind of the more specific thing about the issue of whether you stay vegan or not, is a lot of what it's focused on. Okay, so let's talk about this first issue of people-pleasing. Now, there is a big culture, obviously, around the holidays, right? There's so much culture of food. There's so much tied up with food and emotions and expectations and holidays. And so this is a worldwide thing, like with most holidays, from what I can observe, yeah. But what I want to say about that is that just because there are a lot of expectations around how you should eat, how you should please other people with your eating, how you should eat like everybody else around the holidays, just because there is a lot of that culturally, and it's very widespread and it's very common, it doesn't mean that it's okay. It doesn't mean that it's not something you should question, and it doesn't mean that you should play along with that game. So what I'm suggesting is that actually a lot of the expectations that families and cultures have around you must eat the way that we eat during the holidays, otherwise you're bad or you're offensive or you're whatever, is pretty off. I understand it's common, I understand it's everywhere, but I don't think it's right. And I think that it's pretty unloving. And so, you know, when you go vegan, or when you want to go vegan, or you are vegan and you're trying to stay vegan, you know, most people do get a lot of pressure from people around them, family, friends, colleagues. And this can really show up during the holidays, right? And so I have had countless people tell me, and I've had these kinds of things projected at myself as well for being vegan in the past. For example, you know, that vegan, like if you want to eat vegan, or you want to eat however you want to eat that's different than the norm, that it makes you selfish, self-absorbed. It means that you're offending someone. It means you're difficult. It means you're high maintenance. And a lot of times other people will put that kind of stuff on you and imply that that is true. And then unfortunately, a lot of people take that on and they say, oh yeah, you know, it is really a lot to ask for me to be vegan. Like I shouldn't expect that. And look, it is my fault if somebody is offended if I don't want to eat their food. And people take that on, and then unfortunately in these holiday situations, you're really likely to self-sabotage and do things you don't really want to do, and then come away from that being like, shoot, like that's not what I wanted to do. Like, you know, you did it, but you don't feel good about it, and it might hurt your body, or it might felt like you compromised just your ethics, you know. And so that's why I want to talk about this issue of people pleasing. The reality is, a lot of times other people have emotional addictions and unloving expectations of you, that you eat the way that they want you to eat, and that's what you need to do. And you need to start questioning those things, because that is actually a form of people pleasing. Now, there's a lot of reasons why someone might try to put on you that you're the problem for wanting to be vegan, and eat vegan, or eat however you want to eat around the holidays. So just as some examples, this is not an exhaustive list. Some people get their personal worth from you eating and enjoying their meals, right? However, it is not up to you. That's not your responsibility to fulfill that for them by compromising yourself, right? That's an unloving expectation that they have. It is not something that you are responsible for. Another example literally just might be that people want to try to control you. Like, they just want to control you, and this is a way, you know, shaming about veganism or trying to control you on veganism can be a way to pull you down, things like that. Another very common one is that, so around the holidays, right, a lot of people throw health out the window. And there's this general attitude of like, it's the holidays, loosen up, now's the time to eat this and drink that, and you have a little bit more because, you know, we're going to go on our diet later anyway. And it's, there's a lot of cultural encouragement to overindulge or to let go, and so I think that part of the issue as well is that a lot of people don't want to have to think about those types of things during the holidays. They just want to indulge. They don't want to have to think about the ethics of what they're eating or the morals of what they're eating. They may not want to think about whether it's loving towards their body to eat that way. And so they will put pressure on you to participate in the same way that they are, so that they get that validation for their choices through your agreement in your participation. Whereas as soon as you say, no, that's not how I want to do it, whether or not you're trying to, some people, it's like there's suddenly a disparity. Now they can tell, like, oh, it's sort of like they just want to keep their head in the sand and they don't want anybody to sort of rock the boat that way, right? So the point is, there can be a lot of different reasons why other people put these things on you that are actually not your responsibility, or that are not actually kind to put on you. And what I want to tell you is that definitively, you're wanting to be vegan around the holidays, or eat however you want to eat, or don't eat however you want to, you don't want to eat, that it is not selfish. You are not being difficult. You are not being high maintenance. You are not offending anyone by not eating any of their food or wanting any of their cooking, you're not doing any of that. So if people tell you that, that is their issues. That is from their issues. That is not your responsibility. And it is very out of harmony with self-love when we compromise ourselves, what we want to do, what we feel is right and ethical and loving, and when we compromise the health of our bodies simply for the sake of pleasing somebody else. And that is something that I hope that you'll consider in looking at that issue. Now, as well, with people pleasing, a lot of us may be also a bit comfortable pointing the finger and saying, oh, they're always so unloving to me, and they're always, pressuring me, and so then I give in, and, they're always doing this and that, and so then I give in. But you have to remember also, it is you that's giving in, right? You're not being forced fed while you're strapped to a chair. Like you're making the choice. And so what I would recommend looking at is, what do you get out of the people pleasing? What do you get out of it? Because you must be getting something out of it, or you wouldn't do it. And sometimes what you're getting out of it is just to avoid fear. Avoid fear of people's attack, avoid fear of people's criticism, avoid fear that people will think that you're this, or that you're weird, or so, right? It could be just to avoid fear, but avoiding fear is something that you're getting out of it. And so in the quest to deal with people pleasing on this issue, it is important to look at what indulging the person and in the people pleasing, what pleasing them does for you. You get to maintain their approval, you get to avoid certain fears. I also want to clarify, though, that with this whole thing I've been talking about so far, I'm really talking about situations where a person is vegan or they want to eat a certain way and they are not putting that on anyone else. They're just minding their own business. They just want to stick to what they want to do, and they're not trying to be unloving to anyone else. However, the caveat that I have to that is that if you are a person who is an angry vegan and you are going around shaming people and attacking people and trying to pull them down and trying to control them for not being vegan or for not eating the way that you're eating, you can't really, I'm not saying it's up to them, that they don't have responsibility if they attack back, but you also can't really blame them for having a negative reaction if you're attacking them. And so please don't do that. My personal feeling is that attacking other people for not being vegan or putting other people down for not being vegan, to me, pretty much is in total contradiction to what I feel like is the whole reason to be vegan, which is to be more loving towards all of God's creations, and that includes other humans. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to be vegan and then go attack people emotionally. So that's the issue with people pleasing. Don't do it. Try to work on why you do it. Try to work on what the reasons are that you want to compromise yourself for other people. All right, so let's talk about the second issue. And the second issue is about self-responsibility and self-love. So what I want to make a point with regards to this topic is that you're responsible for your own meals. You're responsible for your own planning. You're responsible for your own eating. So, I'm not suggesting you roll up to your family's house or roll up to your work party and say, I'm vegan and you need to treat me well about that. And by the way, where are my vegan options? Have you made my vegan options yet? Because the thing is, even if you go vegan and, your family, let's say, has made you food around the holidays for the past 20 years or 50 years or 70 years, I don't know, they don't have to do it. So and this is true whether you're vegan or not, my belief is that every one of us is responsible for our own nourishment, our own meal planning, our own preparation. We might prepare food for other people as a gift, or other people might prepare food for us as a gift, but that we need to remove all the expectations out of that as well. And so my feeling is that around the holidays, whether we're talking work parties, potluck dinners, you hosting your own meals, well, you hosting is maybe a bit different, but when you're going somewhere that somebody else is organizing or hosting, going home to your families for the holidays, whatever it is, no, it's not up to anyone else to accommodate your veganism. It's not up to them. And so, one of the challenges people have sometimes is that they're not taking the personal responsibility for their own meals. And then, of course, they're caught in situations where they don't have what they need. And then they eat something that's not vegan because in reality, they just didn't provide for themselves. They didn't take that personal responsibility. So my suggestion is that in every situation, it is best to assume that it is up to you to do all your own grocery shopping, to make your own meals, to provide the food for yourself, to do the planning, to do the actual cooking, all of it. So let's talk about some specific situations. And I'll share a bit about what I do in these types of situations. So let's say you're invited to something that is a social situation involving food around the holidays, and it is a short length of time. So you're just going to be away from home for a few hours, let's say. It's a work party or a dinner party. So if I'm invited to something like that, and if I don't know whether there will be vegan food or how much there will be or what kind there will be, sometimes what I will do is in a very non-demanding, non-expectation kind of way, I will contact the organizer or the host who invited me, and I'll just say, thanks so much for the invite. I'd really love to come. I just was wondering if I could ask, because I'm vegan, do you know if there will be any vegan options there? Let's say it's a work party, right? And they're going to be buying food anyway. Do you know if there will be any vegan options there? If not, no worries at all. I will eat before, or I'll, figure something out, right? So I always go into it with the intent to make, I don't want the host to feel like they've got to accommodate me, and I'm demanding that now. Now, a lot of times when you do that, people are like, oh yeah, no worries. We'll have this and that. We'll make this and that. So glad you told me. A lot of times people who aren't vegan still enjoy vegan food anyway. And so I often find that that is not a big issue. And then if I find out that maybe there won't be, or any situation where I'm just not sure, I just, for whatever reason, even if I did my research, I just don't know if there's going to be good vegan food. I don't know if there's going to be any vegan food. Then what I will often do is make one of a few choices. I can eat before so that I'm not hungry, and I can just go for the socialization aspect of it. I can, even if it's not a potluck style thing, I can make a bunch of food to share for other people that I can also eat. I could bring that. I can have some emergency protein bars in my bag. So if I get there and it's like, oh no, there isn't actually really anything, then I can have those protein bars. But I would suggest that it's not very self-loving to not know what the situation is going to be before you go and not have any backup plan. Because, I've been there. I've been to those parties where you're like, shoot, I'm not going to be home for 6 hours and all I've got available to me is nuts. And then I just end up eating only nuts, and it just feels bad, and it's not balanced. And so those are some options that you have for that. If you're going to a dinner party, you've been invited, you don't know how vegan it would be, then I'll often tell the host, hey, I'm vegan, but don't worry about it. I'd love to bring a few dishes to share with everyone. So I might do a potluck style in that situation, even if it's not. Now, if it's a longer social situation, right? So if you're going to a friend or family members and you're going to be staying for multiple days or a week or even longer, then what I would recommend is go into it assuming that no one's going to grocery shop for you, no one's going to make any food for you, no one's going to plan any meals, no one's going to learn recipes for you, and that's okay. And that was an adjustment for me as well. Before I went vegan, I was used to the holidays being a time when you just go home and mom or dad or whoever makes you all the food and you don't even have to think about it. You don't grocery shop and you're just kind of provided for, whatever. And then when I went vegan, I was like, oh, this is going to be different now. And lo and behold, I switched right into and for years now, if I've gone home or if I've gone anywhere for the holidays, I have had to 100% grocery shop for myself. I've had to plan all my own meals. I've had to make all my own meals. I've had some funny Christmases where, the family was eating whatever they were eating, kind of normal stuff. And I was eating raw collard wraps or something, because that's what I wanted. And that's what I wanted to make for myself. So that's what I did. One Christmas, I was juice cleansing. So I just juice cleansed through it. And there's been various other Christmases where, we're in the kitchen and maybe everybody else is eating all the same thing and I'm eating a totally different thing and I make my food. And it is an adjustment, but it does mean that you're a lot less likely to be caught in a situation where you choose to eat non-vegan food, right? Because you've provided for yourself. And you can make it fun, it can be fun to learn new recipes and to experiment with vegan versions of holiday recipes. And like I said, not put yourself in that situation where the only thing you can eat is like nuts and dark chocolate and then you feel really imbalanced. So that's that. So, I would just say really take responsibility in every situation for figuring out how you can have vegan food, how you can have balanced vegan food, how you can have enough vegan food, and assume that that's all up to you. And if someone else learns a vegan recipe, if they make you food, if they grocery shop for you, that's a gift. It's a gift. It shouldn't be something that you expect, even if you have expected it for a long period of time. And on the other side of this, what I also want to clarify, because this has happened to me personally as well, there may be situations where in order for you to not compromise yourself, either emotionally or like physically, so if it's a situation where if you're going to be treated well based on being vegan, or not be treated badly, and also in order to not compromise the way that you want to eat, there may be situations where you simply cannot go to that person's house. So I have situations where, there are some family members who, well, even for me even though I've been vegan for so long, they're still really passive aggressive about it. I even have family members who literally purposefully try to make it hard for me to be vegan if I go spend time with them as like a passive aggressive thing. I don't go to their houses anymore, like for holidays, for extended periods of time. I have people who maybe they would accommodate the veganism, but there's just different circumstances that might be based on like how far away they live, where they live, what are the closest grocery stores, what kind of, a lot of these things you can make work, but sometimes there are logistics where it's just hard logistically to sort of maintain that. If that was the situation for me, I probably wouldn't go. If that was the case. Now, if you're hosting, by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, if you are the host of a holiday or of a party or whatever, my feeling is your rules go. Your rules go, and it's your home. You're allowed to make the rules. So, like for me, I've never really hosted holidays, but if I were to, and this is just my general policy as well, my house is vegan. Obviously, anybody who eats however they eat is welcome to come. I'm not an angry vegan who shames people, so I don't have people walk in the door and I'm like, now you're gonna sit down and I'm gonna make you watch Earthlings and I'm gonna make you look at all this stuff and I'm gonna shame you or anything. But I also feel that it's my home, it's a place that I want to try to uphold love and ethics and morals, and for me, being vegan is a part of that, and so only vegan food is permitted inside the home. And so if I was hosting, that would be something I would let the guests know. And so I'd say, don't feel guilty if it's your home and you want to have some parameters that everything be vegan, that's fine. And there may be people who choose not to come to your home because you've made that decision, but I wouldn't, ultimately, I don't know if that's a terrible thing. You're just trying to uphold morals and ethics and keep your home a certain way in that way. And, they're allowed to make their own decisions as well with that. But when it comes to going to other people's places, there may be situations where it's just not self-loving to do that. And I think that that is an important thing to consider as well, just in the issue of not compromising yourself. So, yeah, that's it for today. So to conclude, we talked about how there's a huge pressure culturally in our families, friends, coworkers, to indulge, to eat the same way that everybody else is eating when it comes to when you eat, how much quantity and volume you eat, what kinds of food you eat, right? There's a lot of pressure to do the same thing that everybody else is doing. And I think that in order to eliminate some of these situations where people compromise their veganism, two of the good areas to look at are, one, people pleasing. People pleasing and worrying about what other people are going to think, acting on that based on your fear of what other people will think, looking at that. Second, self-responsibility and self-love. What do you need to do logistically to take care of yourself, to be responsible for yourself and your own nourishment, and also to be self-loving in the whole process? And yeah, there's just no reason to compromise. You know, it is like holidays used to be a time of year that gave me a lot of anxiety, and it is really nice to deal with some of these issues because then what ends up happening is the holidays will come around and you just don't have anxiety about it. You know you're not going to compromise your veganism. You know you're not going to compromise your body. You're not going to compromise how you want to feel. You're not going to compromise your ethics, your morals. No matter what curveball kinds of situation is thrown at you, you're not going to. And again, if the issue that you have is more, look, it's not so much this people-pleasing or self-responsibility issue, more of my issue is that I seem to overindulge, even if I don't have pressure from other people, I just seem to do that. Then I would suggest you go and watch my other video about why we overeat during the holidays. There's more info about all of these subjects at my website, which, is courtneypool.com. It's just my name. There you can also contact me if you're interested in coaching, and you can also donate there. I run everything by donation, and I will look forward to seeing you in future videos. Okay, bye everyone.